Hello everyone, my name is Lu Heng, CEO of Larus Limited, founder of Larus Foundation. Today I'm going to talk about something being hot debated in the RIPE community, the cost of running RIPE NCC, the regional internet registry for Europe. To begin with, let's first talk about what is regional internet registry for the person who don't know, and what they do, and why subject become a hot topic every year for the past almost 5 years consecutively. RIPE NCC was founded in 1989, not as regional internet registry, but as a sort of community gathering, and became an internet registry in 1992. Since then, it was tasked to register IP addresses for the region it's responsible for. It's running a registration database and authentication service for the routing of its registration database, the IP addresses. So it has two core services, the registration database, which is about a couple hundred megabytes, and RPKI is authentication services which provide a real-time authentication route origin of the IP addresses. That is its core service. And of course, aside from that, RIPE NCC also does training, hosts numerous meetings, one of the biggest measurement network in the world. That is what RIPE NCC does. Today, I'm going to break down its total cost and see what we can do about almost astronomical cost of the RIPE NCC. The total projected budget of RIPE NCC in 2024 is 38.2 million euros. In those nearly 40 million euro budget, 9.6, so almost 10 million euro, its core service, which it calls in the budget planning the registry, the registration services. It's RPKI, it's Lear portal, it's registration service and member support and all that. That's about 10 million euros. And then it's spending another 7.4 on information services, which is RIPE Atlas and RIPE Status, and another 9.6 million on external engagement and community, which are presumably including RIPE meeting and all the travels for the staff, logistics, and all that. And it's operational sustainability, which means facilities, HRs, finance, and information security risk and all that. On the face of it, let's say how much RIPE NCC actually cost if it's just running its core services to its member, which is the registration services and its operational support. So its registration service actually cost 9.6 million, which is about 25% of its total budget. And its operation cost from HR, legal is about another 10 million, which is another 25% of its budget. So in total, without any cost saving, without considering by lay off all the other services and the reduced cost of HR, the reduced cost of legal and all that needed to support such a big staff member base, on a very rough estimate, RIPE could reduce its membership fee by half, by at least 50% of just doing its core services. And we're not talking about any operational efficiencies. We're not talking about does that really necessary to spend 20 million euros in a few hundred megabytes registration database. Just on the face of it, if RIPE only does what it's supposed to do at its core, it's 20 million euros. The other 20 million euro is what's so-called added service. I believe 90% of RIPE members never heard of these services. Well, I do appreciate the usefulness of those services, and I do understand the value of those services. And some of those services, even myself and my company use regularly. For example, RIPE Status. It's a great service. But does it need to be built into the compulsory membership fee of a regional internet registry? I think the answer is no. I have explained various of my other videos is the membership fee of the regional internet registry in a centralized registration database is basically a compulsory tax to every internet users. If it's compulsory tax, we should not build into whatever service we like into such a compulsory tax. We should reduce it to the maximum, to the bare bones, so that we can let more people afford the internet. While Europe is traditionally considered a wealthy continent. But let's not forget, Ukraine is also part of RIPE service region. And there are many other countries in Central Asia still in an early developing stage. There are people in the RIPE service region still live on the $1 a day. So what I think is right is to have its core services and have all the other separate services. I'm not saying they should not be existed. They absolutely can, and I believe will exist, but they should be put into a fundraising model. just like any non-profit, if you want to do a good public service, if you want to provide a good technical solution to the public on a non-profit basis, ask for the sponsorship. People who are willing to donate. I, for one, would very much like to donate to services such as RIPE Atlas or RIPE Status, but it should not be built into a compulsory membership fee, which in effect is a compulsory tax charged on every end internet users. So today, I urge members raise this question, discuss it with your fellow friends, and tell them the importance to have RIPE NCC membership fee be as low as possible. Let them start from cutting anything else but their core service, the registration database and RPKI. That alone, that one single action will save 50% of their projected budget, and I believe even more because of the reduced overheads. Let's start there. The cost per member of the RIPE NCC operational cost would be going from 1,700 euros to maybe 800 or 700 euros. And from there, we can look at operation efficiency, automation, and I believe with right management, with cost cut in mind, we should be able to bring the total cost down even within the 5 million range, which the RIPE membership fee will come down barely 400 or 500 euros. I understand this is still somebody's monthly salary in some of the service regions, nations, but this is 75% lower than what today we've been proposed to charge. With declining membership number, with keep rising membership fees, with ever rising inflation in the region, I think it's become a vital task for RIPE to let a member decide should the membership fee, including all the extra services, or should all those extra services be separated and put into its maybe independent entity, or being separated within the RIPE NCC with a transition period, of course, to have its costs not coming from compulsory tax, but actually coming from fundraising and coming from people who are actually using those services and appreciate those services. I think it's more fair to the members, it's more fair to the end internet users, it's also fair for the person who uses it. And I understand there's a lot of companies out there have a budget of millions to donate to this non-profit for the continuous development of public services such as open source software, for example. Organizations like Apache Foundations are doing a great job on this. So why can't we do the same for the RIPE training, for the Atlas, for the RIPE status, and for all these community engagement things? We could absolutely do it. And let's come down to a travel cost, the community engagement. I understand RIPE meeting is an important venue for the community to get together, and someone has to pay it. But does the payment really necessary came from the compulsory membership fee? I don't believe so. I believe the payment can easily come from all the members who participate. End of the day, within RIPE members, there are companies such as Deutsche Telekom, Vodafone, Orange. Those are multi-billion international companies. I believe they will be happy to pay a twice-a-year gathering for the tech people get together. So I believe those fees can be covered with simple sponsorship. With that being said, I think we as a member of RIPE NCC should really tell the board this is what we want. Not trying to increase the RIPE membership fee every year and trying really hard on the balancing exercise, who should pay more, who should pay less. Let's do one very simple thing. Cut all the unnecessaries and charge the absolutely necessary. And those unnecessary bit of the RIPE services can become its own dedicated entity, where it could become vital to the user who use them, who I believe will pay for them. It's an up-to-date video, and I really appreciate you listening to me, and I really appreciate you watch to this end. If you have any questions, and if you want to participate in the discussions, the budget of the RIPE NCC, please go to their mailing list or send an email to me. I'd be happy to put your views here in my video or discuss with you. Thank you. See you next one.